Grain by grain, the sands of time have seen history pass by, never stopping and silently watching everything fall into its place. But sometimes, even these silent grains can tell a story like no other. This is that story. At the close of the 18th century, the earliest dealings in Indian securities started when the East India Company issued loan securities. In 1875, the Native Share and Stockbrokers Association was formed, which later became the Bombay Stock Exchange, the oldest stock exchange in India and perhaps Asia. Soon, many more stock exchanges came up across the country, and with them came the need for legislative measures to control the markets. So the year 1956 saw three landmark legislations: the Securities Contracts Regulation Act, the Companies Act, the Capital Issues Control Act. And in 1964, UTI's birth laid the foundation for the mutual fund industry in India. Till the 1980s, the market was reasonably vibrant. But it also suffered many shortcomings, like lack of competition, lack of transparency, information asymmetry, inadequate investor protection, and long settlement cycles. That's why, in his 1988 budget speech, the then Prime Minister, Sri Rajiv Gandhi, announced, "For a healthy growth of capital markets, investors' rights must be fully protected. Government has decided to set up a separate board for the regulation and orderly functioning of stock exchange and the securities industry." Thus, SEBI was born. Soon after, waves of economic reforms swept through the early 1990s and opened up the country to the world. And with them, in 1991, the then Finance Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, the pioneer of the economic reforms, announced in his budget speech, full statutory powers will be given to the Securities and Exchange Board of India. After which, the Parliament passed the SEBI Act in 1992, making SEBI an autonomous and independent regulator. From here on started the journey of transformation of the securities market and the far-reaching reforms in systems, processes, and infrastructure. SEBI played the role of agent of change. One of the most important policy developments of the early 1990s was the shift from controlled, merit-based regime to disclosure-based regime. Repeal of Capital Issues Control Act and issue of disclosure guidelines facilitated issuances not only by established groups but also by enterprises promoted by professionals and first-generation entrepreneurs with low capital and bright ideas in IT, biotech, pharmaceuticals, and many more sectors. The launch of screen-based trading was another major milestone for a market where people traded secretly under a handkerchief, of course, a century earlier, and later through an open outcry system. The screen-based trading brought remarkable improvement in transparency and efficiency of the trading system and paved the way for nationwide trading. A fully automated, demutualized electronic and order-driven exchange, the NSE, was set up. It brought in competition and sped up the process of development and reforms. Another major reform, dematerialization of securities, rid investors of paperwork, bad delivery, frauds, and damage of physical securities and made the settlement mechanism more efficient and transparent. Mutual fund regulations were introduced to develop the mutual fund industry, which was vital for mobilizing retail savings. Today, India has 52 mutual funds with an asset under management of 7 lakh crore rupees across 700 cities. The regulatory mechanism put in place for foreign institutional investors led to the inflow of foreign capital in the last 2 decades with 1,767 FIIs and a cumulative net investment of over $170 billion. The system of Badla was abolished and derivative products were introduced to provide a good hedging mechanism. The reduction of the settlement cycle to T+2 and margining greatly improved the risk management framework. Takeover regulations were introduced to help corporate restructuring. and to protect small investors. SEBI, to keep vigil over the markets, has installed one of the most advanced and real-time surveillance systems in the world. SEBI believes that an educated investor is a protected investor. That's why it has launched a massive education and awareness campaign and has set up the National Institute of Securities Markets, NISM, to cater to the growing trained manpower needs of the securities market, which is estimated to be 50,000 professionals per year, and to spread financial literacy. But the journey of transformation wasn't always smooth. There were instances of market misconduct that exposed the cracks of the system. However, the nation's resolve to deal with them are showing results. And with all the reforms over the last 25 years, the Indian securities market has emerged as one of the best markets in terms of systems, processes, infrastructure and enforcement, as acknowledged by Sri P. Chidambaram, the Finance Minister of India, in his budget speech this year. I believe that India's capital market is among the best regulated markets. This year is SEBI's Silver Jubilee year, and I offer the regulator our congratulations. The journey is, however, unfinished. We have a long way to go. The task ahead is to bring the fruits of economic development to every household in the country. So while here ends the story told by the sands, the journey still continues.